Hi, my name is Russ Adams, and this is the Creator's Crypt podcast. Now, typically on the podcast, I'll talk about things that pretty much aggravate or just irritate the living hell out of artists in our professional lives. But I've hijacked it so that I could talk more about this Bitty Bigfoot and Friends project that I'm putting on, and specifically the crowdfunding. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about how the crowdfunding math ain't mathing. So in a prior video, I talked about how, crowdfunding is a long shot, but it's really my only option. And it's kind of the only option for a lot of us. And we've also talked about how we can traverse some of the corporate landmines that have been developed over the years when it comes to crowdfunding. Things like having to have a big marketing budget just to get your crowdfunding site noticed. And that can be a huge problem. And in the last video, I talked a little bit about how influencers might be propositioned to come into the fold when it comes to crowdfunding and how we might be able to respond with proper compensation. So what's next? Well, while we're trying to build up our social media following, and we're also trying to kiss these influencers in the ear, trying to bring them on board, we need to start developing our crowdfunding strategy pretty much like it was due yesterday. We need this thing to be solid. By getting it done as soon as possible, that gives us lots of time to perfect it as we go. Well, I'm not quite sure what you're crowdfunding for. Mine is based on an indie YouTube children's educational program. And just like everyone else's project, I'm trying to put together a well thought out rewards program. Something that's going to factor in the financial needs of the project, but also the cost of doing business. And while I'm doing all of that, I've got to create a production timeline where I can keep my supporters and followers up to date on what's going on throughout the process. Let's talk about the cost of doing business for a second. The rewards program is so much more than what you can offer in return for people's pledges. First and foremost, your project needs need to be met, or what the hell's the point? So you need to be thinking about how you plan on structuring these rewards and how much of a bite they're going to take out of you. Now, a lot of people will try to factor in something like 20 to 30% for the rewards program, but to be completely honest, I feel like that's cutting your own throat, because again, the whole point is to raise money for your project. Because when you're talking about the rewards, it's not just talking about the tangible reward items that you might be, giving in return for those pledges. It has to also factor in a few other things that you might not have considered. It might also include manufacturing costs, shipping and handling costs. Then there's packaging fees and even fees associated with the crowdfunding overall. A lot of people probably don't think ahead about the costs of shipping these items out to people. The costs are becoming outrageous. I mean, shipping is ridiculous right now. I just finished my book, and I've got a bunch of pre-orders that I'm shipping out that come with an autograph. So I have to sign these books and then ship them out to those people who were kind enough to purchase them. And a few of them are in foreign countries. And in some cases, shipping a book overseas is costing upwards of $30 to $60 just for shipping. So if they bought the book for $29.99, now I've just added $60 in shipping to that, which means they just paid almost $100 for a book that I was selling on sale for $29.99. It's ridiculous. So shipping really, really is a factor. So let's talk about the handling portion. Now, I sell these things like the Bigfoot right here. These are I call them torso masks. And whenever someone purchases a torso mask or one of my Bitty Bigfoot characters, I have a custom box made. Now, this is a box. It's friggin' cardboard, okay? These boxes, just to have them made, will cost upwards of $20. So there's $20 for the box. And then however much the shipping is. And, it's insane how this stuff will start to add up. So start looking at your rewards and consider what those things are going to cost to ship, and have an idea of what it's going to cost to ship domestically and internationally. Because if you do have international pledges, you might be biting off way more than you can chew. Okay, so let's talk about fees and rewards cost to ratio, because that's the next big thing. Let's say that you need to raise $10,000 to get your project started. Now, that's $10,000 to make the project happen. And that was your goal. And you raised that amount of money. You were lucky enough to raise that amount of money. You're not going to get the $10,000. It's going to be taxed by Kickstarter right out the gate. So 10% is going to be taken off the top before you even get the money. So that leaves you with $9,000 that you can work with for a project that was going to cost you $10,000 to do. But wait, there's more. You're not even going to get that $9,000. If we took that $9,000 and subtracted the rewards program of 10%, that's another $900 chopped off. So now we're down to $8,100. But you're not getting all that either. In addition to paying those fees and that rewards to goal ratio, now you've got taxes. And you could be looking at anywhere from 25 to 35% for the taxes, unless you have a pretty decent amount to write off. And even then, you really need to do your research before you rely on all of that. And if your rewards to goal ratio was 20%, that's $1,800 you just lopped off. And then you've got the taxes. So what are we looking at now? We're looking at you probably walking away with $6,100 for a project that needed $10,000 to make it happen. So let's say you need $10,000 to make your project happen. What are you going to need to raise so that you walk away with $10,000 in hand, and not have anything lost to fees and costs and the cost of doing business? What are you going to need to raise? Well, to walk away with $10,000 and to stay within the program of the 10% rewards to goal ratio, you're looking at having to raise a little over $17,000. So you need to raise $17,000, and you're going to lose $7,000 to all that bullshit that we just talked about, just so you can get the $10,000 that you need to continue, to pull off your project. It's bullshit. Am I right? Everyone is going to reach into your pocket immediately once that crowdfunding hits its goal and it's funded out. So you need to be prepared. Now, you want to be transparent with everyone. You want to let them know where the money is going and how it's going to be used, okay? Now, you don't want to just come right out and say, hey, listen, the only reason why we need the $17,000 goal is because we only need the $10,000, but $7,000 is going off to fees, taxes, and a bunch of other bullshit, okay? You don't want to say that, because you don't want backers to see your page, see that you've got a $17,000 goal, and read that the first $7,000 of that is going to go to fees and taxes. It's kind of a buzzkill. I mean, they're not likely to pledge anything towards it because they don't feel like their money's actually going to the project. And that's the whole point of them being there, is to help support your project. So being that upfront might actually shoot you in the foot. But you still want to be transparent. So you need to phrase it like, okay, $17,000 includes the production cost and any fees associated with it. And that's what we have to raise to make this happen. You're being crystal clear about what you need without going overboard. Because if you heard that the first $7,000 of a Kickstarter campaign was going to go to fees and stuff, would you stick around? Or would you be like, oh, this project's dead on arrival? I feel like I would be in that second boat. Be like, this project's dead on arrival. And as much as people are there to help support you or to support a project, I mean, they want to support a winner. And if they think you're going to lose right out the gate because this $7,000 weight is hanging around your neck, then they're not likely to step in. And you don't get any of the money unless you meet your goal. So the whole thing is to keep everyone happy and informed and, and supportive. I'm telling you all this so that you have the opportunity to think ahead. If knowing ahead of time that the money you raise is going to have a significant amount of it evaporate before your eyes, you've at least planned for it and you understand where the money is going. All of this information plays into the crafting of your rewards program, which we're going to talk about in a future video. Those rewards need to be creative and as low cost as possible. Again, these people are there to support your project, to bring your project to life, not to get nifty stuff for their pledge. But again, you do want to reciprocate something in return for that money that they're offering. So you're going to want to focus highly on things that are digital, things that are like behind the scenes videos, stuff that you're already going to be doing, like recording behind the scenes stuff and then giving them, early access to it. You're already creating that stuff. And if you're giving it away as part of the rewards program, then great. It really doesn't cost you anything. So you're keeping the costs down and you're still giving some really cool incentives to people to pledge to, to back your project. Fundraising is war. And as you've heard, war is hell. You want to protect yourself. You want to arm yourself with as much information as possible. Look all over. Scour YouTube for videos that are going to help give you a little more information on what happened when we did our crowdfunding, or maybe even talk to ChatGPT about the possibility of, of those hidden costs and things like that. I mean, that's a use for AI that I think benefits all of us as opposed to using it to create art, which really pisses me off. And in the meantime, how can you help support Bitty Bigfoot and friends? You can help by liking the video, sharing the video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe, if you are so inclined, go off to Venmo and find @BittyBigfoot and maybe donate a couple of bucks. That would be helpful. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope to have more up soon. I would like to thank my friends over at the Collector's Maze Network. If you're looking for a collection of podcasts that are all things geek, then you should check out the Collector's Maze Network. And until we see each other again, keep the creativity flowing.